Water comes in many flavors to the discerning palate. Mondstadt's water is crisp and pure, while water from Liyue has an enduring aftertaste. In Inazuma, the water possesses a depth of flavor unlike any other. Sumeru's water, meanwhile, has a rich and complex flavor profile, but it must be savored patiently to fully appreciate it. Melusines are beautiful. creatures. They are the pride of Fontaine.
Huh? Do you also see Navia and Clorinde over there? They look like they might have run into some kind of trouble. Let's go check out what's going on!
Still no dice?
Not at all. And I've asked pretty much everyone in the court of Fontaine already. Lynette's ears drooped as soon as she heard that we'd have to be out and about for days on end. And Fremine, he hid himself under his helmet as soon as he realized there'd be people around that he didn't know.
What about Chiori and Charlotte? I feel like both of them would be more than up to it.
I've asked them already, but they're both pretty busy right now. I just gave the members of the Spina a few days off, too, so I don't want to bother them either.
This is getting pretty difficult.
Navia, Clorinde, what's up?
Oh, my. Well, if it isn't...
Navi.
Huh? Oh!
Yep, this is our chance.
Do you need our help with some...
Oh, precisely. My dear partners, we've got a huge problem right now that only you can solve.
Whoa, for real?
Absolutely. We've already exhausted all our other options.
Traveler, Paimon, would you join us and play Marechaussee Hunter Judgment Day?
Marechaussee what now?
It's a new game script by the Tabletop Troupe, a local roleplay adventure club.
Ever heard of the Tabletop Troupe? They put out games that allow you to participate in a story and roleplay characters with your friends. Oh, I've loved their stuff ever since I was a kid.
That sounds super interesting.
Clorinde and I are both veteran members of the club. Recently, someone came up with a new script and was looking for people to help playtest it for them. And when they asked, of course I couldn't refuse. I mean, come on! A brand new script? Nobody has ever played it before.
Generally speaking, scripts at that level of development have a lot of issues, but I think this one is pretty solid. The author obviously put a lot of work into the story, and the world building...
Whoa, whoa, whoa! I know I was the one that handed you the script, but some of us haven't read it yet.
Anyway, the script calls for a team of 4. Ah, yes. We're missing one final player right now.
So, you're saying you'll help us out? I knew I could count on you, partner.
Paimon and the Traveler are kind of a pack.
That's not a problem. I'll adjust the pace based on the actual number of players, and ensure...
Well, Traveler, what do you think? Wanna play? Paimon will...
Well, that solves our problem.
Woohoo! I'll go
The script manager? Didn't you just say that you gave Clorinde the script?
The club introduced a completely new kind of gameplay for this script. In this iteration, the Game Master's version of the script is incomplete. The script manager provides the next part of the script only after players have completed the current list of objectives. On top of that, in order to increase player immersion, the club has created some of the story's sets and scenes in real life. We'll only know where we should go once the script manager reveals the starting location.
Wow, you're right. Whoever wrote this script really did put in a lot of work.
And it's got a real healthy amount of suspense, right? I mean, even the GM doesn't know how the story will end.
I look forward to experiencing it with you all.
Why don't you go meet up with the others first? They should all be waiting at Chioria Boutique. I'll come over.
Sounds good.
You say that like I'm 6 years old. Let me think.
I just hope you'll pick up some useful skills this time. Oh, and... Sorry to keep you waiting.
You're back. Huh? And you've got the Traveler.
What a pleasant surprise. I assume you'll be joining us for the game.
Linny, Farina! Paimon didn't know you were playing too. Are you also members of the tabletop troupe?
I'm more of a casual member, if anything. I haven't taken part in many formal club activities. Lynette Fremine and I play something similar at the hotel. Still, I'm sure it'll be...
Well, I'm not a member of the club at all. Clorinde simply woke me up first thing this morning, said there was a good script worth experiencing.
If you're interested, I can give you a referral. That should give you a 40% discount on membership fees.
I think I'll wait to see how this experience plays out first, especially when it comes to the quality of the script. If it's sufficiently fun, then...
Do you participate in a lot of tabletop troupe activities, Clip?
You could say that. She's actually one of the few senior game masters of the troupe.
Right. I knew about that even when she was still my subordinate.
It's...
Wow. Paimon's so used to seeing you be all upstanding and intimidating as the champion duelist. It's kind of hard to imagine you role-playing with a bunch of friends.
Surely you jest. I would never intentionally make things difficult for my players. I maintain a clear boundary between my professional and personal lives. The me you see at court represents the law and order of Fontaine. I put all personal feelings to the side and grant a fair duel to all who seek to defend their honor. But in my personal life, I'm just an ordinary person. Someone who feels anger and sadness.
Well, you say that, but for all the time I've known you, I don't think I've ever seen you cry. I've seen you get angry, sure, but now I'm wondering whether you were actually mad or if it just looked that way from the outside.
I was probably in work mode.
Is that so? Well, in any case, I just feel like even in your personal life, you don't get emotional.
So you want to see me cry? That might be a little difficult. A show of anger, though, that might be something I could accomplish.
No. I'm back! Here, allow me to introduce you to the script manager, Mr.
Pleasure to meet you all.
Hello? Wait, are you a champion duelist too, Mr. Florian?
Oh, no. This is just the costume provided by the club.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It's nothing. It's the least we can do to give the players a more immersive experience. Anyway, allow me to give you a brief introduction of the script. This script was adapted...
Paimon's not super familiar with the history of the Marechaussee Hunters. Is that a problem?
Oh, no problem at all. I can give you a brief rundown. So, basically, Marechaussee Hunters were people who dedicated themselves to hunting monsters and protecting the city by using a special swordsmanship technique passed down over generations. Their story can be traced back to the ancient Remurian dynasty, as well as the first hunter, Cassiodor. But I'll leave the finer details for you to seek out and discover later.
And I'll provide additional commentary as the story progresses.
In that case, brave hunters, are you ready to set out on an
Whoa, just one sentence and it's like we're in the story already.
Aha! I see many a determined gaze before me. Very well. Head over to this location and begin your heroic...
So, as we follow the story, it leads us to specific scenes? Ooh, sounds pretty innovative.
It's the exact location of the scene, as well as the formal permission to use the venue. Huh, seems... Please check all your belongings, everyone, and make sure you haven't forgotten anything. Once you're ready...
Sounds good. Hunters...
Ad Astra... Thank you for
really have thought of everything. Even the phaetometer is here and ready to go for us.
The phaetometer. What's that?
It's a card that's used to determine action success or failure. We'll need to use it when we try to use certain skills.
And what about all the dessert and tea? Is that for us as well?
That's what the message said.
Really? That's so nice. It feels.
Those snacks have Paimon's name written all over them.
I think you might be more of a snack hunter than a Marashose hunter.
Snack Hunter Paimon reported for duty. If there are delicious snacks to be found, Paimon will track down every last one.
The desserts are great. But I'm still looking forward to the story.
Very fair. Then, let us begin. First, please pick up the blank character cards in front of you, and write down your name and profession. You can find an abbreviated version of the rules printed on the back of your character card. If you have any questions, feel free. In this story, everyone is a Marashose hunter. To reflect this, the club has prepared a small badge for everyone.
Ooh, nice.
As hunters, you have proficiency in swordsmanship and fighting by default, so there's no need to allocate any additional skill points to those areas.
Swordsmanship? So there's a fighting part to all of this? Paimon's not sure she can do all that on her own. Maybe Paimon can just...
Why don't you share a character card then? The Traveler will be the Marashose hunter, and you can...
Kinda like...
So, for the name, do I fill it out with the name of my...
Yep.
You can use your real name too if you want. I do that whenever I get too lazy to think of a new...
Oh, so it would be like experience...
In that case, I think I'll continue to use the name Linny then.
Next up is the skill sheet. You have a limited amount of skill points that you can use to learn a number of skills. The more points you invest in a particular skill, the easier it will be to pass associate...
I'll take persuasion and investigation. Those are must-haves when it comes to missions.
Oh, those skills sound like they'd be useful for gathering intelligence. Good idea, Navia.
So, should we also take those skills that...
Not necessarily. Since we're working together as a team, we could leave the negotiations to Navia and use our skill points to pick up other... For example, I think I'll take stealth and sleight of hand. That will give us more options if we run into any situations we can't
Oh, interesting. I wasn't thinking about it like that. I suppose it's not so different. Let me see. I'll take arts and performance. I'm not quite sure what use they'll be, but I'm not as knowledgeable about the other skills, and I'm not too confident I'd be able to roll.
Well, that leaves us. What do you want to learn, Traveler? Oh, something that'll help you get a read on other people's thoughts. So you want to help people when they're injured. So what do you think? Are you sure you want to learn these two skills?
Let's see. Oh, looks like you each have it.
You've all picked such classic skills. It's fine to go a little bit out of the box, you know.
Why do I get the feeling she's getting ready to cause trouble?
For example, this one here. Summon. Doesn't it sound super mysterious?
Oh, I saw that one just now as well. The description says, this skill can be used under certain circumstances to summon characters or creatures that fit the script.
The script's world-building rules, huh? But how are we supposed to know what a
Oh, that's not for us to worry about, my friend. Just learn the skills that interest you. And the GM will take...
All right, you've convinced Paimon. Let's learn Summon, then. Paimon can't wait to see what kind of thing shows.
Well, now that everyone's more or less finished creating their characters, since two of our players are doing this for the first time, though, would you like to play on easy mode or...
What's the difference?
Well, in role-playing games, the story sometimes changes based on the decisions of the player. For example, if you fail a check, that means you cannot use the target skill in that scenario. A critical failure may even result in... If you choose to play in authentic mode, every time you elect to use a skill, you'll need to use the phaetometer to see whether you succeed or fail. And if you choose easy mode instead, every check will be successful by default. and you won't have to worry about luck playing a factor.
Given that I'd like to focus on the story, I suppose I should pick easy mode. I'd feel bad if I...
Huh? Oh, come on. Don't worry about that. RNG is the lifeblood of role-playing games. I'm never knowing what you might have to overcome. Ugh.
I'd rather...
All right, then I'll mark down Farina for easy mode. All her checks will be successful by default. As usual, Navia...
What about you, dear partner? How would you like to play?
Are you sure?
Trust me. You'll... Honestly, I don't think Clorinde would make things too difficult for us, no matter what the phaetometer...
No?
That wasn't super.
Well, anyway...
Speaking of the story, why...
Well, that's because a long time ago, back when human civilization was still in its infancy, powerful demons and evil sorcerers ruled over the land. They created a host of monsters. Soon, a group of human rebels banded together. With their swords raised, they swore to brave the darkness, and in doing so, subdue each and every monster that sought their destruction. They... Sometime later, as a member of the Marechaussee Hunters, you receive a commission. Following the address provided, as you inhale, you can taste the slightly salty air of the docks as you begin to survey your surroundings. There aren't many people in the vicinity, but you do take note of a few others who, like your eyes, meet. And you realize these people are fellow Marechaussee.
You're all Marechaussee hunters too, right? Allow me to introduce myself. The name's Navia, monster hunter by trade, and helpful. What say you to traveling together? We can help each...
Okay, my name is Linny. I've been wandering since I was little and picked up a few less than legal tricks along the way. I was adopted by a Marechaussee hunter and...
Is this where you introduce your character to everyone? My name is Farina, and, I grew up in a noble family. I always had a strong interest in performance and the arts. Even though I'm a Marechaussee hunter, what I really want is to be a...
Hey, you can do it, Farina. That's
Paimon is Paimon, a good friend and companion to this Marechaussee hunt.
I've been studying medicine ever since I was a child. I want to do my part to eradicate these monsters and use what I've...
Oh, welcome, welcome. When we face the monsters, I'll make sure to charge in front to give everyone some cover. You can take care of...
You open your envelopes at the same time. The message to the honorable and trustworthy Marechaussee Hunt. The lands outside the capital have been overtaken by monsters, and our people are being led astray by forces of wickedness. We beseech you, please help us resolve this crisis, and...
The layout of this city looks super familiar. It kind of...
The scriptwriter must have used a real-world city as a reference when coming up with...
As experienced hunters, the layout of the city reminds you of places once traveled. You recall the sight of tree-lined streets, and yet, as you regard the city in front of you, it appears to be little more than an empty shell. Its hollow gates are open to you, beckoning you to come forth and bring...
I carefully read every line of the letter and turn my attention to the signatures at the bottom.
You see a long string of unfamiliar names. It would seem that many of the residents of the city issued this commission together. They sensed that things were not right.
In that case, why don't we take a walk around the city and...
Oh, good idea. We might be able to get some leads on the monsters and...
You look up and see a tavern nearby. It appears to be.
Why don't we go check out that tavern? If the novels I've read are anything to go by, taverns are...
As you approach the tavern, you find a plainly dressed woman standing nearby. She appears to be rather troubled about something.
Greetings, friend. Lovely weather we're having today, don't you think?
Oh, hello. I suppose you're right. The weather today is quite lovely. If only...
It seems like every character included in the script has a certain amount of useful information to offer. If we keep asking questions, we might...
Oh, come now, don't be sad. Life is all about optimism.
Huh?
I don't think that's the kind of question we're
Nothing turns a frown upside down like good food. How about some macarons?
You didn't even take cooking as one of your skill proficiencies.
That's not necessary, miss. Excuse me for saying this, but you don't really look like a chef. Besides,
So you're someone who barely smiles and doesn't like sweets. You're really starting to remind me of this one friend of mine. Hey! Did she just... me?
Clorinde must have broke character for a second.
This isn't getting us anywhere. Traveler, maybe you can think of something.
the results of insight checks aren't disclosed to the players, so I'll be the one You recall all the lessons you've learned in your time, and you notice that when she's quiet, she has an empty look in her eyes, as if her thoughts have drifted to a place far, far away. And when she speaks, she often subconsciously reaches out to touch... so you noticed. That's a little embarrassing. A horde of monsters suddenly appeared near the capital recently.
Do you remember when those monsters...
I'm not completely sure. All I know is...
Do you know where...
It all happened so fast. When we said our goodbyes, he couldn't even...
You have our thanks, friend. We'll find and defeat those monsters as soon as possible.
Don't worry. We'll find him. Just try to we don't always get to choose what happens to us. But we do get to choose the little things, like what we eat and how we respond to the things life throws our way. I hope that one day, you too will recognize the power of something as small and inconsequential.
You bid farewell to the woman, and continue your journey further into the city. As you venture further into the city, the streets appear largely empty. An elderly woman walks past. You see her shake her head as she puts away her wrinkled wallet. A nearby merchant folds his arms and gives you a disdainful look. You get the impression that he's someone who has long gotten used to the sight before him.
Although he doesn't seem very friendly, merchants are usually a good source of information, right?
Pardon me, sir. I'd like to ask a question, if I may.
That depends. How much are you willing to pay?
How about this much?
What do you take me for? Some lowly beggar? You can't even buy...
Surely an onion can't be that...
what do you know? War's nearly upon us. Everything costs several times what it did before. If you're not gonna buy anything, then...
Whoa, what a nasty guy. Maybe we shouldn't even bother talking to him.
But he still might have information we need. Traveler, can you think of something?
Okay, while everyone is talking, I secretly use my magic props to summon a bottle of wine without the merchant noticing. We meant no offense, sir. Here, allow me to offer you this bottle of vintage wine, made only from the finest grapes. I should mention that this wine is the perfect accompaniment to a... Do you have any information on the monsters, or the
Crisis. If you ask me, there's a crisis everywhere you look. Those monsters are camped outside the city, and they've been destroying all our trade routes. We have limited reserves within the city, so if this continues, we're all gonna be in big trouble.
Wait, you're saying no one has put a plan in place to distribute supply?
We could all starve, and those nobles in the palace wouldn't even break us. Who knows? Maybe they've been in cahoots with the
That is Thank you, sir. We won't...
Hey, why did you leave in such a hurry?
Well, you see, that bottle of wine was just a cardboard prop.
Did we try to go somewhere with more people?
Oh, how about the city square? Follow me.
Before you lies the city's central square. You see a man with a slightly anxious look on his face, pacing back and forth, his head hanging low. He doesn't seem to notice your approach. Still immersed in his own thoughts, he shakes his head and lets out a long sigh.
This guy seems promising enough. Maybe I can get some information out of him. Hello, sir. Is there anything I can do to help you?
Wait, you're...
I'm...
Oh, dear goodness! You're a Marachose hunter!
You recognize us? Are you one of the people who wrote the commission letter?
Yes! Oh, I didn't expect you to actually come! Oh, what great news! The city is saved!
What happened here?
Alas, we once lived comfortable, carefree lives. This city used to be free of monsters. The first Marachose hunter, Casiodor, the Golden Hunter, he was the one who drove... However, monsters have once again surrounded the city. Perhaps the seal that kept them at bay has lost its power. Or perhaps an evil sorcerer has been meddling in our affairs.
Are there not enough soldiers to drive?
It's not a question of numbers. The guards simply have no idea. Most people my age have never even seen one of the monsters, much less been trained to fight against them. What's worse, many of us don't even know the history of the Marachose hunters anymore. When I was a child, though, my grandfather would tell me stories about how the Marachose hunters drove back the monsters. So, on the off chance that something might come of it, to be perfectly honest, I was starting to think all those stories were just tall tales. But now that I've seen you in person...
Well, you can rest easy, friend. The righteous and formidable...
The man is touched by your determination and resolve. His eyes begin to well with tears of relief.
Still, if we are going to hunt the monsters...
All I know is that the area outside the city is dangerous. Although, if you leave the capital through the main gate and follow the road, you should run into a group of guards. They might know more about where to find the monster.
I see.
All right, be careful. Oh, and one last thing. The monsters outside the city are just part of the problem. They're actively working with the monsters, and have corrupted the court ministers with malicious magic. They're the reason why, even inside the city, everything has been a giant mess. Even one of our kindest ministers has turned into a boorish and unreasonable figure, interested in nothing but enacting laws that exploit the people. Who knows how much longer we'll be able to go on like this.
Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I feel bad for him. Maybe we should try to cheer him up?
Like, now?
Is it? I appreciate your kindness, but for now, brave hunters.
If I understood correctly, there are currently 2 problems in the kingdom that need solving, right?
Exactly. We need to defeat the monsters outside the city and take down the evil sorcerer stirring up trouble for.
But which problem should we tackle first?
Well, this seems like a good moment for a break. Take some time and discuss what you want to do.
I really didn't expect the people in the city to keep us at arm's length like that. I totally thought the hunters would be treated like heroes.
Well, Clorinde said the script took cues from the real history of Fontaine, right? Maybe the real-life Marachose hunters were also treated like that.
I wouldn't say it's a perfect representation of history, but there are definitely some similarities. Would you like to hear more about it?
Sure. As long as it doesn't spoil anything in the script. You brought up bits and pieces of the hunter's history before, but it was all in passing.
Paimon wants to know too! The hunters were super powerful, right? Were they all from a special line of supernatural beings or something? Kind of like the yokai in Inazuma?
No. All Marachose hunters were ordinary mortal fighters. The only thing that set them apart were the special sword techniques passed down over the centuries.
Huh? So you mean anyone could become a Marachose hunter?
In theory, yes. All you would need to do is survive the rigorous training and master the swordsmanship techniques required to fight the monsters. Still, most people dropped out at the early stages, and others called it quits the minute they saw a monster in person. To become a hunter, you must be strong in both body and mind.
What kind of monsters did the hunters fight exactly? Oh, and the evil sorcerer the script mentions. Did they exist in real life too?
The land of Fontaine once played host to an ancient dynasty known as Remuria. After that dynasty fell, monsters began to appear, intent on obstructing humans from establishing a new social order. One of the ancient sorcerers of Remuria used his power to assemble a formidable army of golems. He sought to use that force to establish himself as king.
Now, wait a second. Don't tell me that guy was the inspiration for the evil sorcerer in the script. We still haven't found any in-game information on him yet. So, why don't you talk about someone else for now?
Well, I wasn't planning on going into anything you might be able to find out in the game. But if you want me to talk about something else, then... How about Casiodor, the Golden Hunter? Or Egeria, the ex-Hydro Archon?
Wait, but those people are all from a super long time ago. Where did you learn all this, Clorinde?
From my master.
By master, you mean Miss Petronia?
Someone you know?
Absolutely. Miss Petronia and my father were good friends. Back in the day, she would often bring Clorinde over to play, but then...
Let's not get off topic. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Responding to Egeria's call, a number of warriors followed Casiodor into battle against the monsters. This group of warriors, under Casiodor's leadership, became known as the Marachose Hunters. Yet, as Fontaine entered an era of peace, their work gradually became obsolete. The Marachose Phantom, originally an association made up of hunters, eventually came to be predominantly comprised of Melusines.
I see. That explains why most of the people in the script have forgotten the hunters or think of them as nothing more than a legend.
Is that really a bad thing, though? It can get tough always being the one shouldering everyone's expectations.
Depends on who you ask, I suppose. If the name of the organization no longer commands respect, investigative work is bound to suffer.
Speaking of investigations, which problem should we tackle first? Monsters or evil sorcerer?
I vote monsters. That's the main duty of the hunters, right? We can come back to the sorcerer later.
Well said, Miss Farina. Plus, if the sorcerers really are the masterminds behind this whole thing, defeating the monsters could give us some clues on their intentions as well.
What about you, partner? What do you think? It's decided then.
All right.
Let's take a look around, like that guy said.
You there! Outsiders, halt!
Who's there?
An armored man approaches you. He has a tall, muscular build and a determined expression in his eyes. Just one although he's trying his best to conceal his current state, his uneven gait and the sweat dripping down his forehead make it obvious that he's been wounded. I'm the captain of the guard. I saw you sneaking around this. State your purpose, or it's off to the dungeons for the lot of you.
Wow, it's been a while since...
I said talk, not whisper between your... Have you... Marachose hunters? Ha! That fairy tale... Using your knowledge of medicine, you're able to deduce that the injury on his calf was a monster's doing, and the wound has already begun to fester. As you check him over, he looks at you with suspicion and retracts his injured leg further.
I'm a doctor by trade. Please let me redress.
The man appears somewhat disgruntled at having been exposed, but soon relents and raises his leg for you to take a... He allows you to apply a poultice of specialized medicine to the wound, and it appears to bring him much relief. The tension in his brow eases. All right. Guess you lot might actually be real Marachose hunters after all. In any case, you've successfully treated my wound.
Do you know where we can find the monsters? Or the other guards?
He informs you of the various locations where monsters have appeared. He looks in that general direction with a pained gaze, as if some of our new recruits have never even dealt with a petty thief, and now they're out there fighting
Oh, please, sir. Don't get too worked up. You need to focus on your recovery.
Hearing you say that, a glimmer of hope flashes in his eyes. Those monsters aren't easy to deal with, but if you insist on... I just hope all the guards will be able to come back to their families alive. I wish you the...
Based on what the captain said, the monsters should be right up ahead. Let's go. Hopefully we're not too late.
As you approach the battlefield, you see numerous people lying by the side of the road. They appear to be dressed like guards. Their faces are filled with desperation and terror. Some are screaming and cursing in vain, as if still trying to banish the monstrosities they saw from their minds. A few of the wounded look up at you in shock and disbelief. Quick, leave this place. Turn around and don't look back, they yell.
This is the place he mentioned, right?
You see broken iron swords scattered all around you, and downed trees riddled with terrifying claw marks. All the signs point to one thing. A truly devastating battle just took place here.
Be on your guard, everyone. The monsters might still be around.
Before you can finish your sentence, you hear rustling sounds from the surrounding bushes. The monsters have emerged. They close in on you without fear. You get the impression that, in their bloodthirsty eyes, you're just another meal for them to devour.
A little help here! This thing wants to eat my mom!
Your battle round begins now. The next battle round begins now. The monsters let out a terrifying roar of anger and resentment before...
Ugh, thank goodness it's over.
We're lucky the Marachose Hunter class came with all those preset skill points. Otherwise...
I never knew the Fatometer even determines the amount of damage you inflict. If you get unlucky, isn't...
That's part of the fun. The uncertainty of fate is what...
Just as you begin to celebrate your victory, a suspicious lump on the ground catches your attention.
A suspicious lump. Wait, could it be...
I walk up to it, crouch down, and begin to carefully examine it. I've still got my right glove on, so it should be fine for me to...
As you investigate the mound, you discover that the exposed portion appears to be made of wood. With the monsters gone, the small protrusion now awaits your discovery.
Whoa, it's a treasure
With everyone's help, you successfully excavate the wooden chest even without opening it. You can tell from the mora and jewels scattered around the chest that it must contain...
Makes sense. We worked hard for this. Let's open it and we can share.
I can understand your excitement, Paimon, but think about it. Doesn't it seem like there are...
Yeah. Think about all the people suffering in the capital. Or all those guards who got hurt fighting the
Wait, is that how it works? Paimon thought since we were the ones to dig it up, we could just take it for...
Well, let's put it this way. Any decision you make during a role-playing game can impact...
But would the people really believe us? It's hard enough for us to prove we're Marchese hunters. What if they think we procured the treasure illegally? They might...
That's definitely something we should consider. Maybe we can come up...
Well, if donating it could cause that much trouble, why don't we use it to buy some gear and fill up on good food? Then we'll be ready to fight even more.
Looks like you're facing a difficult choice. Well, it's getting late. Why don't...
Wow!
I'm not sure if it's because I'm having so much fun with you all, or because the story is particularly enticing, but...
Here, here.
Yeah, that won't work for me either. Lynette will give me an earful if I get home.
I understand how you feel, Navia, but we have to change venues for the next part of this...
Huh?
There's a special note for the GM at the end of this section that says to proceed to an indoor set for the next part of...
Whoa. He really pulled out all the stuff.
Well, even if we end the game for the day, we can still stay a little longer and hear Clorinde finish her story, right? Paimon wants to hear more...
Something tells me you just want to finish the free desserts before we break.
That's just a coincidence, okay? Besides, to Paimon, not finishing free food feels even worse than having to buy it. And anyway, Paimon really does want to hear more about Clorinde.
Well,
It's nothing. I appreciate the concern, but it's all in the past. My earliest memories are of living with Master. According to her, she saved me from certain people of ill repute. My birth parents...
What a heavy beginning.
Master was a fascinating individual. My first ever toy was a short sword. Although I suppose it wasn't so much a toy as something Master removed from her waist and handed to a noisy child and...
Oh, wait, so she handed an actual sword to a child?
Of course I did. I cut my palm and bled quite a lot. But Master was not concerned. She just stood there and See, that's what you get for not holding the sword properly, she told me. She then crouched down next to me and said, "Give me your hand. I'll teach you to bandage this wound. After that, it's time..."
Excuse me for asking this, Clorinde, but how old were...
Probably around, 3, give or take.
3? Isn't that when most kids are still struggling to hold a...
As I said, Master was rather inexperienced in the ways of raising children. She believed trial and error was the best way to teach a child what they're...
I'm not so sure this is a question of experience.
I didn't see anything wrong with her ways at the time. And anyway, children don't get to choose how they're raised. Oh, she did bring me back a pet from Liyue once. It was a Geovishap hatchling.
A Geovishap hatchling? For a pet? That seems even...
What she said was this: make sure to get along, you two. If you really can't agree on something, just settle it with a fight. Whoever loses...
And how old were you when this...
5.
Well...
No, I lost.
So, you're saying you actually became...
Yes, but only for a week. By the end of that week, I defeated it in combat. And we've shared a cordial relation.
That really doesn't sound like the kind of childhood someone...
Later on, I gradually understood that Master most likely didn't know any other way to raise a child. She was a Marachose hunter. Thanks to her, I learned how to navigate the forest by the age of 6, and could hunt monsters in the wild by myself. Even though the training she subjected me to was strict, she always made sure to take me traveling when she had the time. We met many of her friends during those days. That was also how...
I still remember the first time we met. You were too scared to join our picnic and hid behind Ms. Pet...
I still hadn't really met many children my age at that time. so I didn't know.
After that, though, you started coming over a lot. You loved challenging people to shooting competitions, remember? I don't think many members of the Spina ever beat you in one of those.
I had a lot of fun during those days.
I enjoyed them too. Oh, do you remember that one time we went exploring around the Spina together? We tried to pretend like we never heard anything, but you nearly let...
Protector of Justice. Oh, wait, you mean that vigilante hero from 20...
Yep, that would be her. She often would put on a black cloak and go out at night. I never knew where she went or what she was doing. Until, like Navia said...
20 years ago, huh? I still remember the guards leaving all kinds of witness reports about... Oh, there's no need to apologize. You had nothing to do with it. And although calling herself the Protector of Order was a bit much, especially when she...
Huh? When did the Protector of Justice become...
Oh, she had a bunch of code names. I heard she would just come up with a name on the spot when later on, she probably got sick of answering those questions and decided to stick to just two. The
That sounds like her, all right. I bet she forgot which of the two she'd used by the time she got back each...
Well, she certainly sounds like a fascinating individual.
It's true. I always wanted to become like her. Someone powerful, independent, and...
But...
She suddenly disappeared the night I turned 10 years old.
Disappeared? What?
I have no idea. She didn't even leave a note. That night, I was celebrating my birthday at Navia's house. But Master never came to pick me up. When she still didn't appear after a few days, I went to Mr. Callus's house to ask about her whereabouts. But he...
Papa probably didn't know either. I know he sent a few people to investigate the matter in secret, but they never...
Don't worry, I understand. To be perfectly honest, given Master's personality and way of doing things, it all made a lot of sense. If I had to guess, just like how, when a litter of kittens reaches a certain age, I was at first, but not anymore. I don't believe Master would suddenly disappear for...
Well, despite everything, you still managed to follow in her footsteps and become the greatest champion duelist in all of Fontaine. You're practically a living symbol...
I suspect my position would be far too by the books for her. Master always did whatever she pleased. But you're right. I suppose I do take after her in some ways.
Who knew Clorinde had such an interesting past? I never had the chance to ask, and I wonder... If Clorinde's master were the champion duelist back then, would that duel against Mr. Callus have gone differently? Oh no. Judging by the atmosphere, Clorinde and Navia are probably thinking something similar. The mood...
Well, anyway... Would you look at the time? It's getting dark.
I had a great time today, Miss Clorinde.
Anytime.
The script was good, but I've got to say, hey...
What does she mean, on to something? I certainly don't know any 5-year-olds who want to fight a bishop in their spare time. Guess I'll head back as well. I need to save my energy.
You're that excited to hear about my fight with the
I was talking about the script...
looks like everyone's here. Now, before we begin, why don't we finish where we left off yesterday? There was an important decision to be made, yes? I'll pour...
Is that really the most important part, though, Clorinde? Heavy walls, cold railings, dim lights. This is up.
I admire the work put into the set. Still, it's obvious the scriptwriter has never paid a visit to the fortress.
So the set is going to be a part.
Unfortunately, that is something I can neither
Anyone think Clorinde's smile is starting to look...
Well, whatever happens, we'll just have to push on. But first, we should really figure out what to do with this treasure. If we're worried about arousing suspicion because of our identity, why don't we give ourselves a different name, just like Clorinde's master?
Yeah, it might be better to keep a low profile. As long as we're helping people, it doesn't matter who we are or...
Staring at me won't get you anywhere. Or did you want some more tea?
Oh, why aren't you saying anything, Navia? Wait.
Oh, this is the short sword Clorinde mentioned last night.
Huh. I'm surprised you managed to track...
Well, I made sure to take good care of it, considering the circumstances in which you gave it to me. Of course I had to keep it safe. Anyway, where were we? Oh, right. I was just thinking about all the potential ways for us to break out of prison. We could dig a tunnel, or try to bribe the guards.
Wait, we haven't been thrown into prison yet.
Well, it's only a matter of time. It pays to be prepared. Just like how you should always have an umbrella on hand. Even...
Alright, Paimon's made up her mind. Let's just give the treasure. Paimon may have wanted to keep it, but if it's going to land us in prison somehow, Paimon will be too upset to enjoy her snacks.
So, you reached an agreement? All right then.
Oh, and we'll collect all the scattered pieces of treasure on the ground as well.
All right. You collect the treasure and make your way back to the capital with your bag of loot. The city is still shrouded in a gloomy, oppressive atmosphere. In places where sunlight struggles to reach, you generously share your wealth with the children, the elderly, and the poor in urgent... Thank you, kind soul. The elderly woman's look of gratitude follows you as you walk away, her eyes never leaving your back until you move entirely out of sight. However, there's still quite a bit of Mora remaining. It appears you haven't...
She's probably trying to tell us to speed this up. We need to hurry up so we can address the sorcerer.
Should we go find that man again at the square? He seemed like a pretty responsible guy. I'm sure he knows the people...
Oh, good.
Just as you start to make way to the square, intent on finding the man again, Please wait, distinguished guests. Several strange guards suddenly call out to you. They run forward to meet you and proceed to politely...
Greetings, gentlemen. Are we being invited?
Surely you jest, my lady. That would not be our place. It is His Excellency the King who requests to meet with you.
Do you think this could be a
Well, we have to investigate the court at some point, right? Meeting the king himself would be...
I say we go for it. If something happens, we'll just turn the whole place upside down.
That sounds a little...
After a quick discussion, you nod to the guards and agree to follow. They lead you all. Gilded tables line both sides of the hall. The space itself is adorned with all manner of expensive antiques, glass shelves, and silver candlesticks. The items appear quite ordinary in size and dimension.
Wow, it's...
The elderly king, clad in a magnificent robe, sits upon the deep... He wears above his head a majestic crown. Ahem! They're here, your majesty. A man dressed in dark clothes, likely a minister, shields his mouth with his hands and bends down to whisper. After a moment, he lowers his hands and stands back up. His gaze shifts to fixate on your group, but he does not move from his place.
The king does not appear entirely aware of his surroundings. The man by his side, though.
The king remains still and says nothing. Esteemed guests, allow me to thank you for coming to our faraway kingdom. Unfortunately, His Majesty the King finds himself quite exhausted. I've heard tell that your group, the Marechaussee Hunters, used your exceptional ability. However, seeing that I was not fortunate enough to observe such a feat with my own eyes, you'll forgive me for seeking...
Well, we've got nothing to hide. You brought us here to talk, right? So... The golem's blades were so powerful, they could cut down trees in a single swipe! It took a lot of effort to defeat them, even for well, there was enough details.
Your account does indeed match those of the survivors. Since you were the ones who defeated the monsters, that must mean you are also in possession...
Well, we did take the treasure.
How did he know about the treasure?
Ah, then I must ask that you return it at once. It belongs...
Wait, but didn't you just say that our great deed deserved a reward? Shouldn't the treasure be considered
Yes, that was indeed what I said. But you seem to have only that which is freely given by the king can be considered a reward. Taking the rightful wealth of a kingdom without said permission...
But that's completely unreasonable.
Yeah, that makes no sense! If it weren't for us, the treasure would still be buried in...
Maybe so, yet the fact remains. You tried to dispose of the treasure without reporting it to the court and without receiving permission. What, no answer? Surely you're not insinuating that you, a group of legendary Marechaussee...
Well, what about the king? Is he just gonna let this guy talk for him the whole time?
Clad in his magnificent robe, the king remains seated, with his hands resting on either side of the throne. His posture is rigid and unmoving. He stares forward with an empty look in his eyes.
From the look of things, could the Prime Minister be the evil sorcerer?
I would like to observe the number of guards stationed.
The guards in the palace appear fully armed, their expressions solemn. Sensing the tense atmosphere in the room, they stand at the ready, each with a hand...
Well, there goes my plan to turn the whole place upside down.
It appears we've been visited by nothing more than a group of ill-intentioned imposters. What a pity. Guards, take them away and throw... Before I decide your fate, however, I must first determine whether you have any...
Can't we try to slip away? Or maybe start some kind of riot?
But if we try to fight the guards right now...
Don't worry. At least we figured out who's behind all this. Let's just play it by ear. If you're scared, Paimon, just hold my hand.
Aw, thanks, you guys.
You allow yourself to be led away by guards, so it's only when you begin to feel drops of water falling from the dungeon ceiling and smell the stench of death and decay all around you that you finally realize you've stepped into a completely Stay here, and don't! The guards lock the cell door.
Wait, sir!
Your voice echoes through the dark hall. But the only response you receive is the sound.
No!
Carve out a new path of fate with our own two hands, of course.
You reach toward your waist, but find nothing there. You now recall that your weapons were confiscated before the guards locked...
What about that knife? I hid it...
When did you hide it in there?
When I was thinking about digging a tunnel.
Rejected. You failed to inform the GM of this course of action. Moreover, the guards would have conducted a thorough search before throwing you in prison.
And the keys to the cell aren't anywhere to be seen?
Correct. You don't even feel a lock hole on the cell door.
Oh, well...
Indeed.
Huh? Why are you the one saying indeed?
Because that statement holds true for me as well. This...
What? But that's a terrible ending!
Generally speaking, this should be the point where the scriptwriter gives the players some kind of hint. Or gives the GM...
I mean, maybe they just really wanted us to be immersed in the feeling of being in prison? Like, they'll only show us the way out once we've grown truly in...
That it?
If only there were desserts and tea in real prison. Oh, wait, guess it's kind of how the Fortress of Meripede works if you're lucky.
Oh, before I forget, Navia, the short sword you had with I took a closer look, and the craftsmanship doesn't appear to resemble anything from this era. If I remember correctly, that style was last in vogue several...
Wait, Clorinde said that sword used to belong to her master, right? Does that mean her master has been alive that long?
I doubt it. The way she went about things often made her seem childish more than anything. I'd say the sword was most likely an heirloom passed down over time.
Hang on. A precious heirloom passed down to you by your master. And you gave it to me just like that? You weren't worried I might lose it?
Master left many things to me when she disappeared. There was the sword, an old key, and a good amount of junk she probably just didn't want to take with her. I gave you the sword back then, because I didn't want our friendship to end.
Wait, when did this happen exactly?
After the duel. Between Mr. Callis and myself.
Before that, Clorinde would have meals with us and even stay over at the Spina some days. She was on great terms with Papa as well. After the duel, though, there was a period of time where we simply didn't know how to face each other. She entrusted this sword to me, and never came back. We were both sad, and conflicted, and totally overthinking everything as a result. Whenever I looked at this sword, I couldn't help but wonder if Miss Petronia had never introduced us to each other at that picnic. Maybe part of the sadness I was feeling could have been avoided. Back then, it felt like I hadn't just lost a father, but a close friend as well.
No one can change the past. The most important thing is that you two found your way back to each other and can enjoy things like this together.
Yep, you're right.
I'm sorry, you two. I didn't mean to bring up any sad memories.
Think nothing of it. No one here is at fault.
Huh? Looks like the next part of our script is here.
Perfect timing. The situation was really starting to get desperate. And not just because of the prison thing.
From Clorinde's face, I really can't tell if it's good news or bad news.
Water continues to drip from the ceiling. In this lightless dungeon, you lack a reliable way to tell how much time. Eventually, you get used to the unpleasant odor of straw, mold, and rust, and find yourselves alternating between fits of... Suddenly, you hear footsteps outside.
Heads up, everyone.
Gather close, everyone, and keep your voice
Who are you?
I work as a guard in these dungeons, but my true identity is the same as your own.
Huh?
Shh! I've already sent away the other guards, but if we make too much noise...
I understand, but how can we be sure we can trust you?
The king has issued a formal decree. In light of the irrefutable proof of your crime, you're to be executed before tomorrow's sunrise. If you want to escape, it has to be now.
Executed? We barely did anything!
Monsters appearing at the same location as the treasure. Could this entire thing have been a trap?
There will be time for speculation once we're out of here. As for my identity, I have no way to prove that to you just yet. Infiltrating the capital was difficult, and finding a chance to speak with you has taken a lot out of me. I could go on, but I think we can all agree that now is not the time for details.
Have you seen our weapons anywhere, sir?
Don't worry, I brought them with me. They're just behind the door. Still, these weapons alone won't be enough to defeat the true enemy behind the scenes. His faction is too powerful. The guards are all under his control, and he's even stationed a number of golems in various rooms throughout the palace. To defeat him, you must find a secret vault. It is said that within that vault, the Marashose hunters of the past left behind a treasure with the power to defeat the sorcerer.
You're not coming with us?
No, I'll remain in the dungeons to deal with the guards. I'll try my best to distract them so they don't go after you. As long as my identity is not revealed, I'll be able to aid you when the final battle comes.
In that case, please stay safe.
Thank you for your concern. I will do my utmost. As for the location of the vault, here, this map should lead you there.
Got it.
All right, once I open the door, remember to stick close and refrain from making any noise. I'll lead you out of here as quickly as possible. You now have the chance to restore the honor and legacy of the Marashose hunters. So please, get out there and reclaim what's ours. And be sure to exercise caution.
With the help of the guard, you successfully escape the dungeons. Your sense of despair and anxiety.
Wait, we didn't get to use our skills at all while we were in prison. Who knows when we're gonna get the chance to use that cool summon spell?
That is a pity, but we can only continue to move forward.
This should be the place marked on the map.
This bit of rock certainly looks suspicious.
Well, I'd say an investigation's in order then. Plus, if all else fails, we can just blow it up.
Wow, you really meant that!
Before you lies a serene stretch of open water, its surface shimmering a brilliant.
Well, guess this means...
What's the matter?
It's nothing. As you step into the cave, you find yourself in an eerily quiet space. Before you lies a narrow passageway that appears to trail off endlessly into the distance.
I see the value in my own work, but I also see the meaning in all the endeavors of the people of Fontaine. I believe I will continue to take pride in fulfilling my duties. Water comes in many flavors to the discerning palate. Mondstadt's water is crisp and pure, while water from Liyue has an enduring aftertaste. In Inazuma, the water possesses a depth of flavor unlike any other. Sumeru's water, meanwhile, has a rich and complex flavor profile, but it must be savored patiently to fully appreciate it. I see the value in my own work, but I also see the meaning in all the endeavors of the people of Fontaine. I believe I will continue to take pride in fulfilling my duties. Melusines are beautiful creatures. They are the pride of Fontaine. Be sure to befriend them and cause them no harm. Water comes in many flavors to the discerning palate. Mondstadt's water is crisp and pure, while water from Liyue has an enduring aftertaste. In Inazuma, the water possesses a depth of flavor unlike any other. Sumeru's water, meanwhile, has a rich and complex flavor profile, but it must be savored patiently to fully appreciate it. I see the value in my own work, but I also see the meaning in all the endeavors of the people of Fontaine. I believe I will continue to take pride in fulfilling my duties. Melusines are beautiful creatures. They are the pride of Fontaine. Be sure to befriend them and cause them no harm. I see the value in my own work, but I also see the meaning in all the endeavors of the people of Fontaine. I believe I will continue to take pride in fulfilling my duties. Melusines are beautiful creatures. They are the pride of Fontaine. Be sure to befriend them and cause them no harm.
Wow, this must be...
But this door is blocking our way in. It almost looks like it's been here for quite some time. I've got to hand it to the tabletop troupe. They really went all out with the props.
Huh. What have we got down here? A kind of mechanism connected to the door?
A pattern on a stone door.
Something...
After a long, difficult journey, you finally arrive at the location indicated by your map. It appears to be an ancient site of some sort. Your surroundings are exceedingly quiet and serene, as if the secret that slumbers here has never once been disturbed. If you listen closely, you can almost convince yourself you can hear the sound of its calm, gentle...
That description makes Paimon feel kinda bad for disturbing this place.
We're doing this for the sake of the people, to free them from the evil sorcerer. I say it's time for this
Linny's right. We need to keep... The next part of the story requires us to solve the...
Yes, that... Something feels off about all this. Guess I'll just...
found something!
Found something here, too.
Same here.
Something just appeared. Some kind...
By solving the puzzles, you prove yourselves at the end of each puzzle
With?
a key.
Oh, it must be the key to the big door.
This is one of the Marachose Hunter keys that are passed down from generation to... It is said that 4 keys in total are required to form the final, complete key. And it seems... Huh? You hear a few strange noises. Suddenly, all the torch...
What's going on? Did we fall into another trap?
For the sake of immersion, please close your eyes, everyone. Without the torches, the space is now complete.
But Paimon can still see a little bit over here. Oh, right, sorry.
Suddenly, you hear the sound of footsteps pierce through the dark.
There's someone else here. Oh, this is so unsettling. I can't see anything.
I've been discovered.
Wait,
You recognize the voice as belonging to the guard who led you to this place. It appears he now covets the treasure for himself.
Oh, so this is just part of the script. Well, if we can't see anything, that means we can't fight to the fullest.
Judging by the way he's holding his sword, he must be a real Marachose hunter.
Retreat! That's not the hunter way. If it's dark for us, then it's dark for him. We choose to...
Your choice is noted. Please keep your eyes closed until I tell you the torches have been relit. This battle will be in the dark.
You got it!
Well then, let it... Ready. Hunt them down.
I'd like to try to hit him with my sword.
Your strike is successful.
Is he
is it over? Can we open our eyes now?
The enemy is strong and relentless, but the battle is nearing its end. The torches have not been relit.
What about now?
Final strike. Ha!
Well, did we get him? Clorinde.
Warm fire flickers across the walls once more. Your vision is now clear. In an impressive display of courage, the four of you successfully defeat the uninvited. That look in his eyes. It's like he became an entirely different person as soon as I...
Huh? Oh, wait. We're supposed to be role-playing. Speak your name, guard. Why did you lead us here? Just is this treasure really more important to you than...
What kingdom? What peace? Those were... I, Florian, am a true Marashose hunter.
So he's also using his real name. Or, wait, was that the name of his character?
Then I'm even more confused. If you truly are a Marashose hunter, shouldn't you want to help us just like you...
What do you know? In this day and age, there's no glory...
What's that supposed to mean?
My skills were passed down to me by my father. We lived a life of obscurity in the remote wilderness. Still, he devoted everything he had to being a And what did he get in return? A life of poverty and pain. In a world that forgot all about him. When he died, the Marashose hunters were the ones who saved this city. We're heroes! We deserved more
Is he talking about how no one in the capital seems to remember the hunters and their legacy? I didn't expect...
So that's why you want to take the treasure for yourself? You feel like you're owed...
If you already knew where the treasure was located, why didn't you just come down here?
Because I still need...
Only a true Marashose hunter is capable. As someone who sought to hurt others for his own gain, Florian lost that right
Okay, but what is this treasure anyway? We've got all the keys, right? So can we just...
You're sure you want to go in?
We've been talking about it for so long. Of course we want to see what's in...
And we've already defeated Florian, right? So he won't try to take...
What you're...
Then let's open the door together.
All right. Before you, the door to the treasure, sealed and undisturbed for more than You hear the shrill wail of the door hinge as it rotates for the first time after years of disuse. Almost like a sleeping giant letting out an extended yawn. You get the impression that the secrets buried behind this door might be just...
It's open! Come on, let's go in! Paimon wants to see what's inside!
Ooh, me too!
Ugh, uncovering hidden treasure is the most exciting part of it.
A stone tablet?
You call this a treasure vault? Looks more like an abandoned...
Maybe the troop ran out of budget at...
They provided a super immersive experience at the beginning only to drop the ball at the most important part? They could have at least filled this place with cardboard morars!
Wait, I get it now. Paimon.
Huh?
This is it? The Marashose hunter treasure is just a stone slab and some broken swords?
Whoa, are you okay?
The Marashose hunter before you appears to suffer a serious mental breakdown. He needs to leave. One of you seems to understand the significance of the treasure already. If the rest of you wish to follow suit, you may So, how are you doing?
What?
Do you remember how you got here?
I remember now. I brought you here because I wanted to...
You mean these?
Huh? How did you...
I could tell something was off the moment I stepped into this cave, so I kept an eye out. I've already...
So the strongest champion duelist in all of Fontaine saved the day once again. Guess I shouldn't be surprised. It would seem you're...
I deserve some answers, don't you think? Everything you said earlier sounded like the truth. Luckily, your monologue was dramatic enough to convince my friends you were just role-playing.
I don't know. I just always felt like there was something in my heart that didn't belong to me. Something agitated and angry. Who knows? Maybe it was my own anger all along. The feelings about my father and the other Marechaussee hunters are real. It just wasn't fair. I was angry, bitter that no one remembered them or praised their accomplishments. I don't know when it started, but at some point, my anger came to completely consume me. At that point, I remembered the legend my father used to tell me. The one about the treasure.
But if the treasure was all you cared about, why plant all those explosives? Wouldn't they just destroy the treasure and bury you along with it?
I can't remember. My head is a mess. It felt...
From your description, I suspect you were dealing...
Devorator?
Oh, your master... your father, I mean, never talked about it? It was a
No, I've heard of it. I'm just not... Wait, it can't be.
The seal?
My family has served as Marechaussee hunters for many generations. But my father instructed me to always watch over that seal and maintain it regularly. He said it had been passed down over a truly ancient... But I neglected that duty after he died. I finally decided to come...
The Devorator would be a formidable adversary for any mortal being. If you lacked the power to completely destroy it, you could easily fall prey to its influence and corruption. In light of this, some Marechaussee...
I heard it has the power to amplify the obsessions and desires in people's hearts, to the point where they overtake you entirely. It would seem I'm not just lacking in...
And yet, you were able to retrieve 3 of the 4 keys. If I remember correctly, each was entrusted to a respected and capable hunter.
One of them belonged to my...
So, how are you doing? Feeling any better? Do you remember?
I remember now. I brought you here because I wanted to...
You mean these?
Huh?
I could tell something was off the moment...
So the strongest champ...
I deserve some answer. Everything you said earlier sounded like the...
The feelings about my father and the other Marechaussee hunters are real. It just wasn't fair. I don't know when.
But if the treasure was all...
I...
From your description, I suspect...
Devorator?
Oh,
No, I've heard... Wait, it can't...
The seal?
My family, my father but
The Devorator would be a formidable... If you lacked the power to complete...
I heard it has the power...
And yet...
One of them belonged to my father. The second I stole from a different hunter. And the third... was one that I snatched while the person was on the way home from the tavern. I know just how strong you are. It's as clear as day to everyone in Fontaine. I observed you from dusk to dawn, but could never find any opportunity to sneak up on you. I never even saw it. The only way I could think to obtain that last key was to lure you here using your hobby, and then... Oh, I get it now. That monster, it wanted to bury you.
I won't comment on anything else.
Well, I did pour my heart and soul into it. The stories my father used to tell me about the glory of the heroic Marechaussee hunters.
It's more than just a story.
Huh?
You're proud to...
I have done so many...
Then explain the purpose of the evil sorcerer. Isn't he the true antagonist? The one...
But I've already...
Wake up, Florian! Do you really think the hunters acted out of a desire for honor and glory? Or to be loved and... You do not wield your sword for yourself, but to protect those... Do you still not understand? Even after seeing the treasure for yourself? The contents of that room, they... You're
right. I am a Marashose hunter. It's time for me to to finally serve the people I vowed to protect all along.
I wouldn't be so quick to push aside the need for redemption.
I know. That's a charge I won't bother to defend myself against.
Good. Then, come with me, and help me see the script through to the end.
Huh? See the script through to the end? But there's no more script left.
Never finished it, huh?
No, I mean, I wrote the script with the sole purpose of luring you all here. There was no reason to write beyond this point.
Then we'll just have to keep writing it. The evil sorcerer still needs to be defeated.
You mean the Devorator? Are you saying I have to make up the rest of the script as we go along?
Is that really so hard? You've already written most of it. Surely you can write an ending where the hunters win and justice prevails. I'll be there to help you too.
You aren't afraid your party will fall into danger?
I know what my friends are capable of, and they're all quite skilled. Besides...
Then, are you going to tell them the truth about all this?
I don't intend to spoil the fun. Sometimes, protecting dreams and fantasies is more important than exposing the truth. Don't you think?
They're back!
That took a while.
Ahem! My fellow Marashose hunters, please forgive me, for I have...
Tone it down.
Sorry. After crossing swords with you and witnessing your courage in battle, I've rediscovered my true self and
Oh.
I confess, I was brainwashed by the evil sorcerer. He asked me to lure you here so he could bury you in this
That little... Wait, you're saying all of that wasn't you, but the evil sorcerer...
That's right. He's adept at manipulating the hearts and minds of the people. I fell under his influence because I did...
Huh. And how are you going to prove that you're a changed man? We're not going to fall...
To be perfectly honest, I only came to my senses after seeing the treasure. It reminded me of my father's past. The treasure was actually...
The names of all the Marashose hunters from ages past and their weapons?
Wait, you already know?
Of course. Don't underestimate a veteran role player's exploration skills. Oh, wait.
We just finished reading through the content of the stone tablet.
That tablet recorded the lives of some fascinating people. For she inherited the responsibilities of the Golden Hunter and passed judgment on many people. But in private, she had a very easygoing personality.
So, she was just like...
Oh,
Well, when you put it that way, working as an executioner, he supposedly used a countless number of tricks to confound his enemies in battle.
Their lives were all so exciting. You could write so many cool books about their accomplishments. How could they have...
Because they chose to be. To hunt monsters at...
And this stone tablet must have been left...
That's right. Few Marashose hunters ever revealed their identity. The only time they...
so... This tablet was created not so that the hunters would be remembered by the people, but so that...
No wonder this place was so well hidden.
You regard the stone tablet in the tablet proves that, although a hunter their legacies shall continue to be passed down from generation to generation.
Father, you want... Thank you, my friend. I implore you, everyone, please give me...
Well, sounds good to me too.
I have no objections, but... Mr. Florian, do you even know how...
When he took over my mind, I gained some insight into his thoughts. Every time I thought...
Huh?
What if... GM?
At first glance, the weapons appear absolutely ordinary. But as you observe, these blades have slain countless monsters.
So basically, take these with us, right?
I'll take this weapon, since it used to belong to...
Good idea. I'll take Mr. Walter's bow then. From one archer magician to another.
Paimon's gonna pick a cool weapon too!
As you grip your weapons, you can almost feel the will of past hunters coursing through your being. It's a feeling of courage, determination, a silent vow passed down from generation to generation that says, eradicate the monsters, no matter the cost.
Mr. Florian, do you know where to find the evil sorcerer?
I was able to see his surroundings when our minds were connected. I believe he's currently... We must be extremely careful. He's spent so long living among monsters that he's now taken the form of one. He will not...
Then why don't we explore some more and try to find some higher level gear? We don't want to just fight him and lose, right?
No, we have to strike now. He was greatly weakened when I managed to break out of his control. If we let him rest, he might have time to escape.
I agree with Mr. Florian. We've got to act while we have the advantage. Don't forget, the people of the capital are counting on us.
Yeah, now that we've got a plan, there's no point in waiting. The longer this drags on, the worse it will be for everybody.
Yes, that's what's called... Yes, that's exactly right.
Alright, you've...
Mr. Florian?
Of course.
He had to set up so many scenes today, and now he has to join in for this last part.
Finally, you decide to slay the evil sorcerer and bring Pete as you walk away. You feel the gaze of the stone tablet at your back, as if all the hunters of... Finally, you arrive at the church Florian described. As you approach, an ominous aura surrounds you. You get the sense that your enemy is close at hand.
How strange. This uneasy feeling seems so real. How did they manage that?
Now, it is time for the final battle.
Let's go!
Florian, wait.
What's wrong?
I think you should wait outside. You've already been corrupted by the Devorator once. I don't think it's a good idea for you to be this close. If it corrupts you...
That's exactly why I have to go. Why I should be... Yes. I intend to lure it into my body.
That's too risky. If things get out of hand, I might have to kill you.
I understand, but if I do this, you'll have a clear... The Devorator will have a hard time passing up a chance to enter a body it knows how to control. You won't have to worry about any of your friends being... You're not like me, Miss Clorinde. You're a just and powerful Marechaussee hunter. The monster broke free due to my error. It's only right that I shoulder the... This is... Consider it a duel to...
Then, as a champion duelist, I hereby accept your request for a duel, and extend to you my most sincere regards. The battle is now upon us. Let the Devorator once again tremble under the blade of the...
So lifelike!
This foe is not invincible. You hold the treasure, the power to defeat it, in your own 2 hands.
The treasure? You mean... The names! It's the Marechaussee Hunters' names!
How are we supposed to...
You forget, Paimon? There's still one skill we saved until the very end.
Hunters fight not for fame, but to aid the people whenever they are summoned.
Walter the Marechaussee Hunter, master of 1,000 tricks, executioner of the Phantom Hunters, I call for aid!
Est, the Marechaussee Hunter, inheritor of Cassiodor's will, judge of the Shadow Hunters. Answer my call! Petronia, protector of justice and order, the hunter I respect the most. Thank you for saving my friend, the best one I'll ever know. Please, lend us your strength.
We have come to answer your summons. And so, the monsters were eradicated, and the sorcerer was defeated. Peace soon returned to the capital of the Marechaussee Hunters. They pursue the Phantom. They will always protect the city. Yes, you've reached...
It's a pretty solid story overall. I thought it was just an ordinary adventure at first, but the further we got into it, that final battle especially, all the effects...
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's so...
Yeah, mine nearly scared the daylights out of me when it started. Oh, we should probably give these props back, right? I'll just...
Did you have a good time?
Of course. Let me know.
Sure, no problem.
Then I'll head back for now. Once Mr. Florian is awake, please pass on my regards to him. He must be extremely exhausted to have passed...
You're right. He's had a lot...
Well, see you all some other time.
Okay, so...
I think it should be fine, yeah.
What in the world was going on back...
So you saw...
That time in the cave when you told us to close our eyes? It'd be weirder if we didn't notice anything.
I was dying of curiosity the entire time. I mean, you did a pretty bang-up job of pretending nothing had gone wrong. Farina actually looked like she thought all of it was planned.
Guess none of us wanted to be the one to break the illusion.
What are you all talking about?
Oh, wait. Don't tell me Paimon never... Oh, this is all my fault. It's not too late to cover your ears. Here, Paimon, I'll do it for you.
Bit late.
You're saying everything that happened back there wasn't...
It's probably more accurate to say this was never a real scripted story.
What?
So loud.
Hey, you! Get up right now and explain yourself!
No shaking!
too, but Paimon's gotta admit, that was a really good story, Florian. Oh, and nice improv.
Yeah, it was like watching a magician improvise a spectacular magic.
If Paimon knew something was wrong with that vault, she would have floated straight in the opposite direction.
Everything was under control.
As if you've ever described a situation as being out of control. I'm pretty sure any situation you consider to be easy to handle would scare a
Guess I'm just used to it.
You must run into a lot of unexpected situations then. That explains why you're so good at coming up with things on the spot.
As for you,
I know there's no excuse for what I did. I'll turn myself into the guards at once, confess my crime.
I would say you've already suffered more. You may have been blinded by... You'll be far more used to this.
But
Of course, you'll still need to take the keys and pay a personal visit to the 2 hunters you wronged. Prepared,
yeah,
as far as I'm concerned.
thank you so much. Until we meet again.
Speaking of Marashose hunters, what should we...
Leave it be.
Are you sure? We could show it to people.
No. I am no exception.
That's certainly...
Wait, Paimon just
That's because the Marashose...
Oh,
Well, I'm sure...
Oh?
This particular... The names you
So the name...
Navia.
huh? Oh, I meant what I said. I mean, it was true to my character, so yeah.
I really appreciate it.
All right, anyway, let's not talk about that anymore. I'm going to go.
She ran off!
I should probably head back as well. This story was truly incredible. I might have to spend the whole night telling my sibling... Goodbye.
Traveler. Should your name and deeds be forgotten, what do you think the significance of your journey will...
I suppose the significance would be the journey itself and the world we helped create. There's still value in the time I shared with everyone here, in the things we were able to accomplish, even if no one remembers them.
A great answer. I'll remember it. Me? The Marashose hunter says no. Perhaps her answer lies in her silence. will usually rest on rainy days, but not the hunter.
Another rude lout.
Prey will usually rest on rainy days, but not the hunter.
Please appreciate my sincerity. What must go on? Please see it.
I'll put you on. Let's move.
I've been waiting. What must go on? Please remain seated.
Exactly. But none of them believed me.
Uh-huh. Yep, you're right.
Can we play Banker next time?
Uh-huh. Yep, you're right.
Exactly. But none of them believed me.
A duel is a battle of wills, and the sword an extension of the duelist's spirit. If your heart recoils in fear,
Wherever in
then
this
your
world
sword
I
may
roam,
as well be in its
I carry
scabbard,
memories of my
because
home.
you will not wield it effectively
This
against
blade.
your foe.
It is the last link I have to the land of my birth.